on, man. Come on.
Now, after this incident, your department issued a statement that said the officer's conduct in this video.
Congressman Dan Goldman cornered Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem with one simple question: if someone has a pending asylum application, are they in the U.S. legally? As Noem avoided giving a direct answer, the hearing exploded into a fierce battle over deportations, ICE conduct, and whether DHS is following the law.
For 5 minutes.
Secretary Noem, let's talk about the law. Do you agree that asylum is a lawful pathway to immigrate to this country? Yes or no?
There's an asylum program, yes, in place.
All right. So immigrants then with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country, correct?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Your question was?
Immigrants with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country.
There are individuals in this country that have applications that...
And they are legally here because it's a lawful pathway, right?
It's a lawful pathway.
Okay, so if your department then deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law, correct?
Joe Biden left us with...
I'm not asking about Joe Biden. I'm asking you a specific question. If your department deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Is that correct?
It was greatly violated when they allowed
I'm asking you.
people to come
I'm
in
asking
and
you.
granted asylum applications.
Why are you filibustering? Why can't you answer the question? It's a simple question.
Your president,
if your department
your secretary
deports
did not follow
anyone
the law,
with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Isn't that correct?
the asylum program was broken under the last...
Mr. Chairman, I will reclaim my time. She's not answering the question. But the obvious answer is that, yes, if you follow a lawful pathway, asylum is a lawful pathway, if you have an open asylum case, you are here lawfully. But the problem that we are seeing around the country is that you are not following the law. Don't tell us to change the law. If you don't like the asylum system, you change the asylum law. Bring it to us. We'll work with you. I think it needs to be changed. But you can't just decide that you're not going to follow the law, and asylum is a law, and deport people who have ongoing applications. Unfortunately, that is exactly what's happening. It's happening across the street from my office right in New York City. Numerous, thousands of people who have come to court appearances, have left them with open asylum applications, have been arrested. And then they've been shipped off and many deported. In September, one applicant was ripped away from his wife and small children after such a court appearance. And then this happened to his wife. Please play the video. No, it's not. It's not this one. All right, it's not this video. Here it is.
I'm yours. Come on, man. Come on.
Now, after this incident, your department issued a statement that said the officer's conduct in this video is unacceptable and beneath the men and women of ICE. Our ICE law enforcement are held to the highest professional standards, and this officer is being relieved of current duties as we conduct a full investigation. 3 days later, you reinstated that officer and you put him back on duty. I sent you a letter and asked you what investigation was done and why was he reinstated. You did not answer that letter. So I'm going to give you an opportunity right here to explain to me that if that officer's conduct was, quote, beneath the men and women of ICE, unquote, why did you reinstate him?
Sir, that investigation was completed. I can give you that investigation and the information that you would like. This is
well, I wrote you 2 months ago. Why haven't you given it to me yet?
I'm actually surprised that you haven't gotten it. I'm going to ask my staff about that.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised because generally speaking, you do not respond to us.
Hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of your letters.
Now, the other problem that we are seeing all over the country is that your officers are wearing masks, are dressed in plain clothes, often going around without identification.
All of our officers are identified.
I'm not asking a question. I introduced the No Secret Police Act to stop this. And we now have 113 co-sponsors so that they will not be masked and that they will identify themselves. Now, you say all of them are identifying themselves. That is not the case, because last month in New York City again, the NYPD officers were injured by your masked, plainclothes ICE officers after they were called from 911 as residents witnessed your officers pulling individuals out of their vehicles and chasing them down the street. I also asked you what happened there. How were the NYPD officers injured by your officers? And you didn't respond. What's the answer?
Sir, our individual
Gentlemen's
officers
time
are
is
identified.
time has expired.
I yield
I
back.
recognize gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzalez, 5 minutes.
One of the most intense moments of the hearing unfolded when Representative Dan Goldman confronted Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem over the Trump administration's immigration enforcement policies. Rather than debating border security in general, Goldman focused on a specific legal question that he argued should have a straightforward answer. Goldman began by asking whether seeking asylum is a lawful pathway under U.S. immigration law. Noem acknowledged that an asylum program exists. He then followed up by asking whether individuals with pending asylum applications are legally present in the United States while their cases are being processed. As Noem attempted to broaden the discussion to the previous administration and the state of the asylum system, Goldman repeatedly interrupted, insisting she answer the legal question directly. The congressman argued that if an individual has a valid, ongoing asylum application, deporting that person before the legal process is completed would violate existing law. He accused the administration of avoiding the issue and claimed DHS was removing migrants despite their pending asylum cases. Goldman emphasized that if the administration believes the asylum system should change, it should ask Congress to amend the law rather than ignore it. To support his argument, Goldman described cases in New York where asylum applicants allegedly attended required immigration court hearings only to be arrested afterward by ICE officers. He argued that some families had been separated even though their legal cases remained active. The hearing then shifted to concerns about ICE officer conduct. Goldman attempted to play a video involving an enforcement incident before technical issues briefly interrupted the proceedings. After the video was shown, he cited DHS's own earlier statement describing one officer's conduct as unacceptable and beneath the men and women of ICE. Goldman questioned why that same officer had later been returned to duty after an internal investigation. Noem responded that the investigation had been completed and offered to provide the results. Goldman countered that he had requested those records months earlier but had never received them. Noem said she was surprised the response had not been sent and pledged to ask her staff about it. Goldman then broadened his criticism to ICE enforcement tactics nationwide. He argued that officers frequently conduct operations while wearing masks and plain clothes, making it difficult for members of the public to identify them as federal agents. He referenced legislation he introduced, the No Secret Police Act, which would require federal immigration officers to display visible identification and limit the use of masks during routine enforcement operations. Goldman also described an incident in New York in which local residents reportedly called 911 after witnessing masked individuals pulling people from vehicles, leading to confusion that allegedly resulted in injuries to New York City police officers responding to the scene. He criticized DHS for failing to answer his previous inquiries about that incident before his time expired. The exchange reflected one of the central debates surrounding current immigration enforcement. Goldman argued that the administration is failing to follow existing asylum law and has not been transparent about ICE operations or internal investigations. Noem defended the department's actions and maintained that investigations had been conducted, while disputing several of Goldman's broader characterizations. The hearing ended without resolving those disputes, but it underscored the continuing conflict in Congress over immigration enforcement, accountability, and the balance between border security and legal protections.